Well, we're back. That was Survivor Type, and I just want to say these are the tweets and comments I've been waiting for all weekend. With us now is film creator Billy Hanson and star of the show, Gideon Emery. Hi, you guys.
Murphy! Why is Murphy here?
I know. Oh my God. I
Live.
shit. So I was like,
Durham.
call me out on
Somewhere. I don't know
Twitter.
where. It's okay. It's fine. I can switch. There's so many times they tell me to move into a different accent. Be Irish. Be more Scottish. Or, you know you got to be Scottish now. So, and then I don't end up getting the gig, but I dance around like a freaking clown. Anyway, good to see you guys. Yay. Little bit hectic for me. I've only seen that a couple of times. We played a bunch of festivals, as you know. And as Billy, how you doing, my friend? Long time.
I'm doing good, man. Yeah, we haven't talked in a little while here, but it's nice to reconnect over the movie.
Yeah, you guys should just interview each other. Actually, just ask each other questions. We'll just sit back and watch. Billy, it's so great to see you, and Gideon. We have never met, but I've been a big fan of your work actually for quite some time. Survivor Type was the first thing that I saw, but I've seen quite a bit of the other things that you've done, and I've played a lot of the video games that you've voiced. So it's really cool to have you here. Obviously, as Leah was saying, this was a film that a lot of people this weekend were really looking forward to, and it did not disappoint.
No. Not
at all. So we'll get into some of our viewers' questions and stuff first, but in a moment, I just wanted to ask a couple of questions. One question that was somebody asked me on a podcast recently, and I didn't really know the answer, so I kind of fudged it. How long was this shoot?
We shot for 4 days.
Okay, perfect. I kind of guessed right. I said anywhere between a few days and about a week. The reason I bring it up is because so many of the comments have been asking about that, because Gideon and Billy, of course, the degradation of your physical self seemed to be so realistic. The weight loss and the sallowness. Obviously, there's some makeup in play there. What was the process that you went through to sort of do that degeneration?
Well, one of the first conversations I had about the movie was, one of the first conversations I had was with the makeup artist, Doug Murphy. And that's one of the things that we did was we tracked how many days he was on. That's where the Murphy came from.
I didn't know that answer.
I didn't piece that together, but yeah, Doug was, phenomenal, like what he came up with the prosthetics.
Yeah, we mapped out like day to day what exactly was happening to him, how much sun he had, how rotted his teeth were, how much sunburn was going to be on his skin. So Doug had it mapped out just like a whole grid. So we'd shoot one scene and like, okay, moving on to the next day, add a little more of this, a little more of this. So he really had it like clinically mapped out. It was really great.
Yes, and obviously. Sorry, go ahead.
For me, just chiming in. For me, obviously, yeah, in an ideal scenario, we would do like a day or a couple days and then have a couple weeks off and do another couple days, but it's so hard on micro budgets to do that sort of thing, because you just can't get your crew and stuff together. So as much as we wanted to sort of deliver like the best thing we possibly could, there wasn't the luxury of time, and we kind of like had location, we kind of lost location a little bit, and then it's like juggling schedules and this sort of thing. So like my thing was, I can't remember, Billy, like how, like when we locked down our dates. I know we had them for a period of time, and then they shifted out some. But I remember like my thing was basically just, okay, once I had the dates, which it wasn't, I think maybe I had a week or something. It wasn't like, it wasn't a big lead time. So my goal was basically just to lose as much weight as possible, and then basically to not eat, in the week we were shooting. It's ridiculous. We shot like Monday to Friday. It was kind of like that. So, and consecutive days. So what's nice as for an actor is like obviously working consecutively, which most, feature films don't do, but we didn't have the luxury of time, which like a Castaway or 127 hours. I always think of this as a combination of the two, would have had. You're like, oh, that's great. So I work with the trainer. Oh, it's so hard. And it's like, meanwhile, you're like, yeah, there wasn't any time to do any of this stuff, So, yeah. So us all working together and with, Doug's great makeup and stuff. But I think I lost like 14 pounds or something in the week, which for me being like 155 pound wet individual is kind of a lot. Yeah.
Well, it was obviously very effective. I'm glad that you mentioned Castaway, because I was thinking as I was rewatching this is really the movie that I wish Castaway had been. It would have been very interesting to see see that.
Castaway, though, that still gets me every time.
Yeah.
We could have done some stuff. We could have done some. That would have been fun. But.
For sure. So, Billy, what was it that drew? I mean, I think we know the answer to this, but we'd like to hear you say it. What was it that drew you to Survivor Type as the Dollar Baby that you wanted to do?
So I grew up in Maine, and I'm a horror writer. So Stephen King is sort of in my blood, and I've read just about everything. Someone asked me though, like, have you read this story about the doctor on the island that eats himself? And I was like, no, how did that one slip by me? So I read it that night, and it just like knocked my socks off. I was reading it in bed at night, and I just couldn't sleep the entire night. And about that same time, I realized, or I learned what the Dollar Babies were, and I realized I wanted to do one. And I was like, well, this is perfect then. This was on the list and whatever. So yeah, I said it's like a hugely impactful story. Even just telling it to people, they go, ugh, gross. And there's a visceral reaction to even the idea of it. So when I realized, I started talking about it to people, and that was the reaction. I said, yes, that's what I need to do next. So we kind of dove in head first.
Well, and I'll tell you that this story could have gone so wrong. Like, you could have tried to make this movie, and if it just if it wasn't as authentic as this was, it wouldn't have been the ride that all of us have just taken. So I wonder, and obviously, it hinges on the effects, and we've touched a little bit about that. I mean, your special effects person, your makeup person was amazing. Like, those on-camera practical effects to do these amputations, like it just seemed so real to everyone. But it's the acting too, obviously. I mean, the direction is fantastic, Billy. I believe this, but this is the first time I get to say this to you, Gideon, is that, I mean, without your performance, this thing could have fallen apart. So I just wonder, how is it that the two of you met? Was it just a regular audition process, or did you know each other before?
Yeah, no, it was a regular audition process. And what's kind of cool, because now Billy's like, hey, did you hear about the Stephen King Rules Festival that's coming up? And it's like, I don't know, it's not on my radar. But I've got a little kid, so there's a great deal that's not on my radar, or radar. After Dodger is right for you. As you can see, the residual effects of working with Billy Hanson are significant. I went. I had a call from my agent at the time, and this is, it's like nearly a decade ago. Isn't that crazy? Mm-hmm. And they were like, okay, here's the thing. It's a short, and it's not, it's obviously a really small thing, and I was going out a bunch for like pilots and stuff at the time. I was like, why am I gonna go for this thing right now? It's like. And he was like, it's really, just take a look at the material and stuff. And I looked at the thing, and I was like, ooh, because the actor in me is always looking for like the juicy thing. And I think most like, true actors are looking for that thing they can sink their teeth into. And it doesn't matter if you're getting paid or not, because really you just want to be like, just feed that thing. And so I went along to the audition, and then, back to the start of the story, Billy on his website for the movie has got my audition, which is hysterical. Like it's there. So I watched that again in the last couple of days, and I was like, okay, that's interesting. So maybe I could learn something from that, is just sort of leaving it in the audition room kind of thing. And I just remember being, I like the exercise of just going there, because that's what drew me to acting, is like getting to play a bunch of different characters who aren't me, but I can like dip my feet into them, and explore them and really go places and stuff. So yeah, Billy, thanks buddy for giving me the opportunity to, and the found footage, because the Stephen King short is like a journal that they find, and making it a found footage thing was just kind of a genius flip for today's time. Yeah.
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, when we started, I was like talking to my wife about doing it. I said, like, the two things we're going to need are really good special effects and a really good actor who can maintain this thing, because it's a hefty short. Like most shorts, I feel like are like 10 to 15 minutes, and this one is 32. And so
Yeah.
that's one person and one camera, and that's it. Like it's a one-man show. So when we did auditions, we were not pulling any punches. So we hired a couple of casting directors, and we saw a lot of people who were really, really good. One thing we didn't anticipate is that everyone was going to choose the amputation scene to audition with. And so we spent an entire day watching dudes come in and go,
Did you give us a choice? 'Cause I remember there's like a couple scenes. Was it like 3 and choose 2 that you like or something?
we're choosing between whose people's screams we like the best.
Wow.
But no, I mean, Gideon came in, and I remember, man, like, I don't know if I've ever told you this, but when you came in, I looked at your resume and I leaned over to the casting directors. And I'm like, he knows this is a short, right? And like, he seems way above us, like way above this. But they're like, we're going to check, we'll make sure. And so you're
being very sweet. It's like, oh, well, thank you. Yeah. Yeah.
But
I remember this. I mean, I can picture the room, and I can picture walking onto the lot, and I mean, it's like I take off my shirt and I made like a tourniquet and all the whole kit and caboodle. I just remember like having fun. Yeah. I'm glad I booked it. I probably would have been like really disappointed. I'm very good. I'm very practiced now after like sort of nearly 30 years of doing this again. Like, do it, leave my thing in the room and forget about it and stuff. But I think I would have been really disappointed if I didn't get the offer, because I felt like, oh yeah,
Well, if I may say, it may seem like a weird illusion, but if this were Shakespeare, you talking, Gideon, about the meat of a character, this seems to me like this particular role is like the Hamlet of Stephen King short stories, and I think that you've set the bar for anybody else who's going to want to try and take on this role. It's really just a powerhouse performance.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, and just to mention also like Doug and stuff. I know it's hard to see with like the streaming and stuff, but for the folks who did watch, and thanks so much to my neighbors as well who texted me, who said they did watch, and hopefully they'll speak to me in the morning and not be perturbed. Is that Doug did a prosthetic of my arm and of my leg from the knee down. And like they were painted. I mean, these had like toenails and fingernails, and then he individually put hairs in the leg. I mean, that was like the level of detail. It was unreal. Yeah, it was unreal. Very real. Oh, it was very real. That's true. It was realer than real.
All right, I'm going to throw over to Leah here, and she's going to read us some stuff from the Twitterverse.
Yeah, there's so much love and equal amounts of disgust going on. And like I said, I waited like so long. Some people said, shouldn't have missed leg day. Okay, full of myself is officially the funniest line of the weekend. There's so many comments here. One sec. Oh, people want to know what you were actually eating that was supposed to be your leg.
Oh, do you remember?
It was like a gelatin or something, I think, right? And then he'd sort of colored it and stuff, so it tasted a little like a sort of a hard jelly something, but it was gristly, like that sort of gristly bit of the meat that you have in a steak, which you go like, oh, I should have cut that piece off. Yeah.
There were a couple of things. There was that one, which was I think the seagull, like the thing that you kind of held up like this. And then we sent our producer, Levi Smith, out to get to a local butcher. And we said, Gideon needs something to eat that's on a bone. And the butcher said, let me boil some spare pig parts for you so he can gnaw on these. And so when
Did you tell me that at the time, or was this a confessional?
I hope I
You know I'm Jewish, right?
Here you go.
I do remember that because it was like not pig's ears, but it was, yes. I remember now. It's coming back to me, and I've tried to repress all these memories for the last decade, and now it's coming back. So, I'm not going to sleep tonight. But then so's anyone who watched it. So
That's right. A couple other things. There's a couple of funny things up here I wanted to say. Oh, wait, actually, I just missed the feed, so never mind. Do you have our haiku by any chance?
Oh, if you guys have been watching, our good friends at Derry Public Radio have written a haiku for absolutely every single film in this festival. And this is the final one, haiku number 29. Struggle to survive, record madness in real time, eat yourself to life. We give Survivor Type 5 out of 5. Blue chambray shirt.
Now, we just have a few more minutes left, but I did want to ask, we've been asking several of our guests this question, and I'd like to ask it to both of you. Billy, I know as you mentioned, you're a horror author. Spider Season, by the way, is fantastic.
Thank you.
Oh, fantastic. What have you got on your plate right now? What is the project that is kind of driving you right now?
I'm just about to lock picture on my first feature. It's called Bone Cold, and that's a psychological thriller. I like to pitch it as Predator meets Jacob's Ladder.
Oh,
and so that's
Okay.
that's quite a combination.
Yeah.
And
that's a really good elevator pitch for it. Yeah.
all right. Well, we'll definitely be looking out for that.
I will.
and you, Gideon, what are you working on right now?
I'm working on my second vaccination.
Oh, good for you.
Nice.
And I'm doing. Here I am coming to you live from my attic studio where I do voices from home for video games and such. And we shall see. I was set for a pilot in March of the dreaded 2020 Unmentionable. And then that got sort of shelved indefinitely, and we shall see. There's never anything I can work on, I can talk about. So it's
right.
I like to say I'm working on something really, really exciting, but I can't say what it is.
Yeah.
It's a good answer.
Yeah, we'll see. But I'm itching to get out there and interact with other people in a less remote fashion.
Well, we really appreciate
I'm more
the
than
fact.
remotely interested in working less remotely.
Well, we're really, really so thankful that you joined us today for this. Survivor Type, as we talked about, has been on everybody's watch list, and it was such a really fantastic way to round out the festival. So thank you both so much for joining us here.
You.
And
thank you for the festival, guys, and for us to get to show the movie in its entirety, because that's a big, big deal, Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, and we got to thank Stephen King for that, because he's let us do this for sure.
Yeah.
I've been watching the whole time. I've been just incredibly impressed with how awesome everything is, how much love there is going on. And when I first did this movie, fully underestimated how cool the Dollar Baby community was. And it's been awesome. We made this in 2012. It's been awesome to watch the community grow and, build into, and I got to drop this because this thing, when he was doing this, I was like, wow, it's just become this amazing thing and culminating in this awesome festival. So you guys are doing a great job. And I poured this to you guys.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Hey, that's the only way I get through watching
Cheers,
myself.
you guys.
Awesome.
We didn't even plan that.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. We do got to get on to the closing, but hopefully we'll get a chance to do this again sometime. And I would really love to have a chance to chat with both you gentlemen again about future projects.
Anytime. Absolute pleasure. Oscars, schmoskers.
Yeah. Who's watching that shit?
All right. Thanks so much.
Everybody
Bye,
for watching,
thank you.
and thanks, guys, for the fest. Cheers, Billy. Stay well, brother.
Cheers.
All right. See ya.